Why, hello there, my friend. It's good to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today I've got the canvas turned sideways, and I've got a thin layer of titanium white all over it like I usually do. And I've got all my favorite colors today. I've got cadmium yellow pale right here, cadmium scarlet right here, titanium white over here, ultramarine blue here, alizarin crimson right here, and then phthalo green, just a little bit of it right there. And with those colors, we'll be able to paint just about anything. I think that today I'm going to start with a 2-inch flat brush, and this flat brush is made with natural hairs. And that's very important because synthetic hairs tend to separate and they tend to leave streaks in the paint, whereas natural hair brushes don't usually do that. Sometimes they do, but not a lot. And I like painting with the natural hair brushes much better, and I think the results are much better. So let's begin with a little bit of, let's pull out some ultramarine today, tap our brush into that, and I think we're going to get just the tiniest amount of phthalo green. Come on, phthalo green. There. Actually, let me see if I can just get a small amount of that. There. I'm checking that I actually got it in the paint. Sometimes it's hard to see when you have a spotlight shining on you whether or not you've got the color actually in the paint or not. And now that I see that I do, I'm looking for kind of a cyan color or a teal color. All right, so we're going to go across, probably the top, third of the canvas or so. And with this color we just made, we're going to start at the top here, and we're going to make X strokes. X strokes. All right? And you come in from either side. And as you go down, the sky is going to get lighter and lighter. Okay? And again, you just make X strokes doing this. Alright? That's how we do it. As you go toward the center of the canvas, it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter. And eventually you can just stop. You can cover the whole canvas if you want, but there's no reason to because we don't have any water today. We're going to stop right there, and right where you see all the little white areas that didn't quite get enough paint, you can see some areas that might get some clouds. And I tell you what, I'm feeling like there's going to be some clouds today. But first, let's clean off this brush because we always need a clean brush. And when I clean my brushes, I clean them in odorless turpentine. So let me stand up here. It helps me go faster. I clean my brushes in odorless turpentine. I do not use pure gum turpentine. Pure gum turpentine is toxic and is very flammable. Now, odorless turpentine is also toxic, but it's very much less flammable. I like to use one with a flash point of about 140 degrees to 200 plus. That's Fahrenheit, of course. And that way, when I clean off my brushes, and when I paint, I don't have to worry quite so much about some of the spontaneous combustion you hear about with oil painters. It happens sometimes, believe it or not, because of the linseed oil and certain conditions of the room, and also because of the turpentine that people like to use. I do not use that. I use odorless turpentine. Okay, give the old wipe off, and we're about ready to paint again. Let's close this up because we don't want to be smelling odorless turpentine for the entire painting session today. Now let's see, we need a fan brush for our clouds. I like to use a fan brush for my clouds, but you can really use any brush as long as you use the corner of it. Okay, so you pull out a little bit of that paint and just cover both sides with it. Really cake it on there. And, decide what corner of the brush you're going to use. I'm going to use this corner today. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I like that. Okay, now you just pick any old area where you want there to be a cloud. Maybe you feel like there's going to be a cloud right here. And, let the clouds dance. Maybe you want to get like, I don't know. Maybe you feel like there's going to be a little bit of just a touch of that cadmium scarlet in there. We'll let that dance in the paint. And we'll throw that in there. And that'll make for a very interesting, highlight up in there. Very cool. And, try not to make it look too uniform. Try to make your clouds go wherever you feel, like lose control of your arm and stuff. And yeah, that's about good. Now, what you want to do is put your brush on your other hand, take your 2-inch flat brush, and with the hairs at the top of that brush, just kind of swirl them around the bottom. Yeah. If you need to, if you need to, make some noises like that, because sometimes it helps. And then once you have that, let's get this over here. Yeah, we don't want to leave that. Give it a little fluff. Every which way. There. Just the lightest touch when you smooth out a cloud like this, because you don't want to lose what you've already done. There. Now, if I really want to, I can go a little crazy on the shadows too, because I can take a little bit of I don't know. This is kind of risky, but let's go ahead and maybe we can get a little bit of that ultramarine, that alizarin crimson, right there. Yeah, just a little bit of that. And kind of just nudge it in at the bottom. There it goes. Maybe you feel like a little something like that today. Yeah. The clouds, they don't know what they want to do. Maybe they're feeling like there's going to be a little bit of rain later. They're not sure yet. They're still trying to decide. They're having a council meeting to decide whether or not there's going to be raindrops in all the poor people's heads while they're at the park. Yeah. Yeah, those mean old clouds. And with that, we probably want to clean off this brush, so let's go ahead and do that. Because we just got some dark paint on it, right? Now, because we have a lot more to paint, we don't want to spend too much time on the clouds, but let's go ahead and clean off this brush here. Ooh, still some more paint on there. I like to scrub my brushes very vigorously on the grating that I have at the bottom of my bucket. And I use a 2-gallon, or not a 2-gallon, but a 5-gallon bucket when I want to clean off my brushes to hold my odorless turpentine. And that's a good bucket to use because it's an industrial grade plastic that can handle harsh solvents like odorless turpentine. When you use a grating, you probably want a steel one because a lot of plastics, when they come in contact with odorless turpentine, they will actually, let me move my paper towels over here so I can more easily access them. When they come in contact with the odorless turpentine, they tend to melt those lesser plastics, so you have to be careful which plastic you use when you're cleaning off your brushes. Some people just like to use glass, which is perfectly fine. If you want to do that, I mean, it's your painting, go crazy. I'm just going to get a little bit more of that color with the cadmium scarlet in there. I told you I was going to use all my favorite colors today, and now you're seeing it. There. Really push the paint in there, Don't baby it. Okay, maybe you want something that's gonna like cover up what you just did over here. Maybe the clouds are competing against each other and stuff, Maybe, yeah. Okay, you got that. All right, let's take that same brush. Actually, let's go ahead and get a little bit more paint in there. Let's take a little bit of that ultramarine, with a little bit of that alizarin crimson, and get a nice kind of lavender type color. And then we'll just, we'll give it a little bit of encouragement in the shadows there. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Yeah, like I say, they're hatching a scheme up in the sky, those clouds, and well, they don't want you to know about it quite yet. They're just keeping secrets to themselves. All right, now let's take the edge and blend out the bottom. Just a couple of hairs on the end of the brush there is all you need. You don't need much. And then give it the fluff. And then go across, go across. It's all good here. It's all good. No worries up in these clouds. These clouds are golden. And then of course you want to clean off your brush again. It would help if I had a bunch of fan brushes to do this, but I don't. So I make do with what I got. Oh well. Hey, that's about clean. we just give the old beat off. Beat it off very lightly because it's a very small brush. And then we give it the wipe down, just like this. Perfect. Doesn't take much because it's a very small brush, but you still need to do it because we got one more cloud that I really want to do. I got one more right here. Okay, get all that. Ooh, make sure you get that little bit of cadmium scarlet in there. That cadmium scarlet that seemed like too much earlier has suddenly become just enough. It suddenly has. Okay, let's go ahead right in here. Yeah, I think there's gonna be. Ooh. Yeah, we'll just maybe this cloud is getting assertive over here. Yeah, maybe it's coming to do a little. Maybe it's kind of hanging down and kind of separating a little bit. Yeah, maybe it's doing a little bit of that. I don't know. It's having fun up there, isn't it? Yeah, that cloud is getting wild. Ooh, yeah. And again, you know, wherever you want. If you don't like where I'm putting it, go ahead and put it in your own place. Go ahead and do your own thing. It's a painting. You do it how you want to. And then we'll take a little bit of that ultramarine once more with a little bit of the alizarin crimson. Get some of that lavender color. Yeah. Ooh, that's too much. We need to get some more blue there. Yep. And then we just go. Ooh, that was a little bit too much encouragement. I just wanted to give us a little bit of encouragement. Sometimes that happens when you paint. Sometimes you overshoot it and you just have to live with the results. And you know what? I'm okay with it. There. Well, let's go ahead and let's not shortchange it. There. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Let's take this almighty 2-inch brush now and then just a couple of hairs there on the end of the brush. Swirl it around. You hear how lightly I'm touching the canvas? That's how light you should be. And then you give it the fluff. There. And now we just go right across. There. Very light. So soft. There. Very good. Now let's clean off both these brushes because they're getting a little dirty. Oh boy. This fan brush is really getting its workout today, isn't it? You know, sometimes the fan brush, I look at it and it feels like, man, this fan brush is getting out of shape because it hasn't done anything in a long time. And I realize, well, you're real good at making clouds, and well, you're pretty good at making trees too, so why don't we go ahead and use you for that? I tap it on the bucket like this to get rid of the excess odorless turpentine, then beat it off like a hummingbird, and then wipe it down. There it goes. Perfect. It's ready to see some more action. And then we gotta do the 2-inch brush again. The flat brush. Oh, this brush. You can paint entire paintings with just this 2-inch brush. You know that? This brush can do just about anything. It's great using a 2-inch flat brush like this because it covers a lot of area very quickly. Okay. Let's give it a wipe down over here. All right. Okay, let's take our 2-inch brush now and let's go into the cadmium yellow a little bit. Take some of that. And then we're going to go into the ultramarine because we want kind of a dark color here, right? Actually, let's go ahead and mix up a kind of a dark color with the palette knife. And I'm going to take my big palette knife for this because I want something a little dark for what we're going to be doing up next. I'm going to take all this paint out here because I'm getting a little too close to home over there. I want kind of a dark green type of color. So right about, take the smallest touch of the cadmium yellow there. And I think we're getting pretty close to something. We got a little bit more of that ultramarine. And just the smallest amount of the alizarin crimson there. Ooh, I got some already on the knife. It was on the other side. I didn't even notice. That's amazing. Okay, let's take a little bit more than we think we need. It's always a good idea to make more paint than you think you need when you're doing something like this, right? Okay. And we've got a nice little color going on here. But we also want it to be pretty dark, so when we finally lay it down and start putting down the greens that we're going to use for the trees, it's going to look about right. And we can just drop some blue on there. There. So we got a real muddy looking color. Let's get a little bit more blue in there because I want this to be a pretty blue one. This should be pretty blue. Yeah. I think we've got something that's good enough now. Let's pull that down. I don't need to cut across with the palette knife because we're not painting with the palette knife right now. We're painting with our 2-inch flat brush. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go across right about, say, here. And then, yeah, look at that. Got all kinds of wild things going on there. Yeah, we're going to go all the way across the painting, I think. All the way across the painting. I think we're going to keep going up here. There it goes. Yeah, look at that. That's a great little dark color. Cool. There we go. All the way across. And if you need more paint, just tap it in there. Really get it in there. Yeah. Right about there's where I want to go. Okay. See, that looks pretty decent. Okay. Now, let's set our brush aside for right now. And then let's get the 1-inch brush. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go into this paint, the cadmium yellow, and we're going to get a color that's maybe a little bit duller of a green than we're going to use later. Because we got a bunch of greens that we want to use today. I don't want to completely use everything that I already have in the background. The background should be, maybe a little bit duller. And you can pull the paint through like that. Go ahead and pull the paint through because we need lots of paint in the bristles. And you can mix the paint right in the brush too. You don't have to do any of the crazy stuff. And you don't want to get the paint too dark here. You want kind of a lot of cadmium yellow on here. Alright? And that way, when you finally go, here, let me set my palette down so I can do this. And then, there. You do it just like that. And you want to be very careful. Very careful. Where you put your greens. There. That's looking pretty decent. Now if you have to, you can go ahead and get a little bit more yellow in there. Pull that through. There. And then looking good. Now don't destroy your darks here. It's very important you don't destroy your darks. I know that it's tempting to get real crazy with what you're doing and start painting all kinds of little things, but you don't want to destroy everything there. You want to leave some of it, okay? There. And then right over here, put some more greens in. There. Now that doesn't look like much. That doesn't look like much. But in a second, I'm going to do something else. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take kind of a alizarin crimson type color, an orange type color. But before I do that, I'm going to clean off my brushes here. Let me set this one aside. Getting ahead of myself. Let's beat it off and wipe it down. Okay. And now, let's do 2-inch brush. Beat it off, and then give the old wipe down, and it's ready to go again. Now we've got a palette knife that's a little bit dirty too. Ooh, boy, I got this brush dirty too. Man, everything's dirty here. I got a lot of cleaning to do. Oh dear. What am I going to do with myself? Well, I guess I'm going to clean my brush if I want to keep painting. Beat it off, and then get the wipe down. Okay, and finally the knife here isn't going to take a lot to clean. What we can do with this is just tear off a little piece. Tear off a piece of the paper towel, and then get that paint off the knife. And we are golden. Okay, that's all that takes. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, let's set that aside for right now. The paper towel, of course. I mean, where else are we going to set it? Now let's get our palette back. Now, what do we need? We need a palette knife, of course. Close up the odorless turpentine because you don't want to be breathing that while you're painting. And now let's get, feel like I want a little bit of alizarin crimson on this. So let's use that green. We can reuse paint all the time, to be honest. There's no law that says you can't reuse the paint that you've already put on the palette. So just a little bit of a note for you guys. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to take the smallest amount of white there to liven that up. There. That's looking good. It's looking pretty nice. In fact, this might be good enough to set down. Okay. Let's pull that up. Ooh. There. Okay. Now let's get the 2-inch brush, pull that through the paint. And now we're gonna kind of just go over some of the stuff that we've already done here. And we need to set out a little bit of ground. So we're gonna follow kind of this bend here. And there's this bend that's gonna end like right about here. Okay? And then it's gonna go this way. It's okay if you get a little bit wrong, because we're gonna be doing some work with the palette knife in a little bit. Okay? So you got a little bit of ground going there, and then we got a little bit of ground going this way. Got a little bit of ground going this way. Pull it through the paint. Okay? And we're just going to pretend that there's this line going this way. Okay, we want to follow that. Okay? all the way over to here from here. And we probably covered more land than we really need to. But it's better to overshoot it so we can correct it later than to undershoot it right off the bat. Okay? So we've got that much. Okay, we got that. Now, right about over in this area, we're going to use kind of the same color. So let's take a little bit more of that alizarin crimson and cadmium yellow and get that kind of light pumpkin type of dirt orange color. Kind of a burnt sienna type color, you know? But we don't have burnt sienna in the palette. We've only got all these, you know, this whole mess of colors that we use, these very colorful colors. So we gotta get a little bit creative, don't we? Alright, well, that's no big deal. Because right here, right about here, we're gonna be creating a little bit of ground. And we're gonna go to right about there. Alright. And make sure the bristles bend up when you do this. It makes it look more like foliage and stuff when you do that. So you can see all the little things in the ground kind of happening. You know, it's all good. There. And we're going to put our road going through here along with a little bit of a driveway. You're going to see that in a little while. But first we got to go ahead and get a little bit of something going in there, don't we? Well, let's take this dirty brush that we've been using and maybe we'll take a little bit of the ochre type color, add some yellow to it, and then we'll add a little bit of phthalo green, because that's going to liven things up in a hurry. But since we've added that ochre color, look how subdued the phthalo green looks, you know? Doesn't that look like a very pretty green right there? Yeah, it looks like you just mixed it with an earthy yellow or something. And now it looks, well, it looks a lot more natural than it did. Alright, so let's go in here. Yeah. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to add even more yellow. And a little bit of white to that to liven things up. Okay. And that way, oh, I might need more white on that. Oh boy. I'm kind of surprised how much I'm going to need. There. Let's go ahead and looking better, looking better, looking better. All right. There. Now we don't have to do too much in here, but we'll do a little bit there. Okay. Let's do a little bit of something in here. Put a little bit more white, a little bit more yellow. Okay. There. Now let's clean off our brush for right now. Off. And then give it the old wipe down. Okay. That's good. And let's wipe off the palette knife here. So we got some clean tools to work with. That's better. Palette knife is clean, it's happy, it's ready to go. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this 1-inch brush and I'm going to reinsert a few darks and stuff in here. I'm just going to take a little bit of the, actually I'm going to take a little bit of the phthalo green too. A little bit of the blue to go along with it. Some alizarin crimson. There. Got a real thick dark color there with the alizarin crimson and the phthalo green and the ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of encouragement in there. Yeah. That's looking pretty decent. Okay. Maybe, yeah. Okay. That's good. Kind of push that back a little bit because it feels like the background's coming forward a little bit too much, you know? Sometimes you have to do that. It's all good. Okay. That's good. That's good. Now, what I want to do here is kind of just clean off the brush, of course. Okay. Give a little bit of a bead off there. And then wipe it down. Alright. So now what I can do with that brush is I can go into this color here, this orange color, and I can add a little bit of, we got to be careful with that cadmium scarlet because it is a strong color. It is a strong, strong color. And I think I'll add some white on there too. Okay. Then like, I don't know, right about, we'll say here, add a couple of flourishes. That's good. Because maybe, you know, maybe you got some trees that are turning a little bit. You know, sometimes trees are different colors even when it's very warm and sunny out. Because you don't know what they're going through. Or maybe they're just trees that are different colors. Who knows? Anyway, let's clean up that brush. Beat it down. Beat it off. And then we'll give the old wipe down. There it goes. Perfect. Now let's see here. I want to get palette knife. I'm going to get my little palette knife. I'm going to run it through, just kind of run it through the white there. Get it up right on the edge of right on the edge of the knife. That's good. Now right about here. Yeah, right there. That's where I want to get a little bit of something, something. And right here too. Yeah. And we just got some poles. That are right there. I don't know, maybe someone's putting a flag or something. Maybe people are going crazy and putting up phone lines out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, that's fun. We got that done. Let's go ahead and clean that off. We don't have to dip our palette knife in odorless turpentine or anything. We can just wipe it on the paper towels and everything's fine. There it goes. Okay. So now this is ready to go. And I'm gonna go a little bit wild here. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to take a little bit of my yellow there, and I'm going to add that phthalo green in. And I'm going to make that wild green that you get when you add cadmium yellow and phthalo green together. And boy, they make a green that is just on fire. And if you want to see a little bit more action out of that, you can put a little bit more white in there. Well, you can put some white in there, and boy, that is a color, I'll tell you. Okay, let's see what we can do. We'll just tap that right. Man, I feel like I have to add a bunch of white in order to get this to show up. Well, there it is. There it is. Okay, we're going to use the same color down here. Because, you know, we got a bunch of stuff that we got to do down here. When you run out of color, just go ahead. You can mix some more up if you want. Add some more green. Yeah, show off some variation in the grass and stuff. Add a little bit more white in there. Okay. That's good. Here, get some more value in there. Use it as more of a highlight. There. That's good. And we'll just kind of, you know, place it wherever. Because we don't want to completely ruin everything on the ground there, because we're trying to show off a, you know, a patchy, you know, layer of grass and everything. So we don't want to completely ruin everything that we got. Alright, so now we gotta get real creative and think about what we want our road to look like there. I just rubbed the paint on the canvas because I told you I got it all wet. And now you know I wasn't kidding. What am I doing? I know what I'm doing. I'm cleaning this off. Beat it off. And then give it a little bit of a wipe down. And that 1-inch brush is ready for action. There it is. Okay, let's take out the palette knife, because the palette knife is the best for architecture and stuff like that, because it helps us get our lines pretty straight. Hold on, I got a bunch of brushes lying on top of my big one. There it goes. That's perfect. Alright, what do we want for this? We want kind of a gray color, don't we? Yeah, we want something that's kind of gray. So I'm going to take just the smallest amount of phthalo green. I'm going to put it out over here, okay? And then I'm going to get that alizarin crimson, because alizarin crimson and phthalo green make a very dark color. Boy, is it dark. It makes a perfect black when you mix them together. Did you know that? I bet you didn't even know that. But it's okay, you don't have to know it. I'm here to tell you. Okay, so you got that color, and you got a little bit of blue in there to give it a little bit of a nudge. So let's go ahead and cut that color, and we're going to go right across, okay? We're going to pretend this road begins right about here and ends right about there, okay? So we're going to take a lot of that color, and we're just going to push it on the canvas. And, you know, I didn't overmix the color, so things are going to get a little wild here. You know what might help this here? It might help if we run this through the color and just pull it across. There. There. And now we'll go from right about there is where the road needs to be. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll pull it right in there. We might need the palette knife for this one, I think. Pull this color right in there. And we'll pull this color right in there. Ooh, I'm going to need my Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take a little bit more of this color that we mixed up for that orangish looking ground over there. And I'm going to bring it over here. I'm bring it over here to create a little bit more ground over this way. Now over here is going to be kind of a driveway type deal, so I don't want to paint over that, but I am going to go in here and make like, you know, I'm covering some stuff. All right. And this man is going to be coming over here. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to need. I'm going to need a little bit more of that color. Let's get some more opaque colors up in here. We can do that with a little bit of the cadmium yellow, the cadmium red, and then if we want we can get some of this blue in here, and that'll tame things down a little bit so that we don't have such a vibrant color. Because, you know, cadmium yellow and cadmium red together, or cadmium scarlet, they're going to create a pretty bright color. And with the titanium white in there, let's get a little bit of that there. Just run it through the paint. There's a reason we got a big amount of titanium white on here. It's because of situations like this where we gotta get a little bit more oomph in the opacity so we can cover our mistakes. Because I'm making mistakes left and right here. So it's no different from any other ASMR painting video. No different at all. Okay. There. Looking good. Alright, so we go up in here, and right about there is where we want things to complete. Okay, so I've got the driveway portion more or less complete. There's going to be a little bit of driveway coming in there, like I've been saying. Alright, so let's go ahead and clean off this brush. Okay, give the old wipe down, just like this. Good. Now we get to decide what we want to happen with a couple of trees in the area here. We got a little bit of some stuff we got to do over here before we do anything else. Maybe we'll go in here and, I don't know, we'll just kind of just cover up some ground over here. There. Maybe there. Now we're gonna take a little bit of Glycerin Crimson, a little bit of Ultramarine, a little bit of that Phthalo Green, and we're gonna create a couple of trees right here. We're just gonna, there. Give them a little bit of something right there. And then we'll create another one right here. Maybe it needs a little bit more Alizarin Crimson and Phthalo Green and Ultramarine to make that dark color work. Okay. There it goes. There they are. Alright. Now let me check and make sure I don't have any other trees that I need to do over here. Yeah, we'll do one right here. What the heck? Okay. There. Just a little bit of a shadow in there. looks nice. Okay. Let's clean off the brush. Okay. All right. And wipe it down. Very good. Very good. Yeah, we should go ahead and clean off this palette knife now. That was more than I intended to take off. Sometimes that happens. If it does, just set it off to the side. You can always use it later. You don't have to use it right now. There's no law that says as soon as you tear off a piece of paper towel, you have to use it to wipe off your palette knife. Wouldn't that be crazy if there was? Okay. Let's put up a little bit of a barrier here so we can see where the road is supposed to be. And if I really want, you know what I can do too? I can take a little bit of, I can take a little bit on my liner brush and go in and decide, maybe I want some crazy things to happen here. Maybe I want to really line this ground here. Maybe I want the ground to stand out. I could do that with a little bit of white and the green paint I was using. So right in here, that's totally fine. Maybe over here. There. There. Now, do I want to do anything else with this? Let's go ahead and, with the liner brush, maybe liven things up a little bit here. You can mix colors in between all the other colors that you mix on your palette. There's no law that says you can't reuse them, as long as we're going on about laws here. Actually, let's get something a little brighter there. Ooh, yeah. There we go. And maybe, maybe you got something a little brighter over here. Something that's really separating all the little things that you're doing. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Okay. That doesn't look too bad at all. Alright. Just like that. And now we've got a little bit brighter grounds going. Things are looking a little bit more lively there. I like it. I like it. Okay, let's go ahead and add some highlight there on these trees over here. And what do we want to do? I think I want to add a little touch of the odorous turpentine there. And then we're going to get the paint on the brush, of course. And we want kind of a, I don't know. I think you want to get a color that's brighter than you think you're going to need. And that way, when you finally do it, and with the help of the odorless turpentine, you're going to be able to put this on. Now this trees that we're doing have kind of an upward bent on them, so don't be afraid to push your bristles up when you make a tree like that. There. And if you want to, you can go ahead and there. Maybe you want to put some more darks over in there. Got some brushes to clean off here. got a fan brush. Okay. Forgot to tap that. Probably got odorless turpentine all over the place here. And we got this brush. We got the 1-inch brush we gotta clean off. Man, I'm using every brush today. Okay. There. Now. That's good. Let's take the liner brush. Well, I just covered it. Now I gotta uncover it. Liner brush. Let's take some of those dark colors that we were using with the ultramarine and the alizarin crimson and the phthalo green. Let's go in here, because you know, maybe we got something in there that we got to do. Maybe over here too. I don't know. Maybe the colors are kind of just oozing out of there. There. There we go. I don't know, maybe we got a big separation in there. Maybe we gotta throw that in there too. If you ever lose your darks, there's a way to go about it, and it's kind of tedious, but you can reestablish some things. You can do it. Don't be afraid. It's okay to make mistakes, guys. I think that should be the biggest takeaway from everything I do here, because I paint everything, you know, in real time with a handful of edits and stuff. So you don't see absolutely everything that I do just for the sake of time, and because there's some things that, you know, you don't need to see that much. But if it does happen, you know, you can fix it. You can do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Right there. Ooh. Yeah. There. Yeah, sometimes you gotta do some crazy stuff to make your painting work. I don't mind doing that. There. And maybe over here, just a little bit. The liner brush is actually really handy for fixing little mistakes and all that. Because, you know, sometimes stuff happens. Stuff happens. Obviously, you don't want to use your liner brush for everything because it's very time consuming, but if you got little areas that need a good fix, then, you know, it's there for you. Okay, let's decide what we want to do with the road here. I think we're at the point where we can go ahead and put up the railing. Okay, railing is going to need the big palette knife, and it's going to go from right about here to right about there. So it's going to cover up a lot of area here. I think what we're going to need for this is some ultramarine, some alizarin crimson, and then a little bit of the yellow. Oh man, my yellow is sliding off. You know, you get oily paints, and this is just something that oil paints tend to do. You want to try to get as firm a paint as you can when you do this sort of thing. But when you use paints, we're going to use a color that has a lot of blue and a lot of alizarin crimson in it. We don't want a lot of yellow in this one. We want kind of a color that's going to be reasonably dark and reasonably thick. Okay, let's get a little bit more alizarin in there. What the heck? A little bit more blue in there. There. Like I say, it's a good idea to mix more than you think you need. Okay, we got a little bit of that on that palette knife there. So let's go ahead right in here, and from right about here to right about here, alright, we're just kind of gonna pull down this paint and cover a fairly large section of the road here, or not the road, but the area. Okay, so right about, well, I feel like it should go right about here. There. That's pretty good. Okay, that's good. Maybe. Alright. Okay. Alright, that's looking promising. That's looking promising. So let's clean that off. Get that off the palette knife now. There it goes. Sometimes you just have to smear it on there. Then, ooh. And you know that piece of paper towel that we accidentally tore off? Guess what? It's coming in use finally. I love it when that happens. That is nothing if not serendipitous. Alright, we need to alright, let's get a little bit of the, okay, let's take the large knife, get a little bit of the phthalo green and some of that ultramarine, take some of that white over there. We're going to create a color that's, well, going to be mostly white, I think, because we got kind of a strange highlight over here on the railing. Okay, and just like that. Now we're gonna kind of just try to go across all this and touch the very top. And touch like the side right here. Well, the piece beneath it, which can be easier said than done given such a tight space. But once you do it, I think it'll look pretty cool. There. Now we've got ourselves a little rail there. What we can do, I guess, too, is, you know, kind of just intermittently throw some stuff in there, because, you know, there's posts on these things. Maybe have one up above and everything. You're going to have to do a lot with this. Just kind of scratch it in, maybe. Yeah, that's probably about good. I don't want to spend too much time on that, because that's not something that a lot of people are going to really notice when they look at this, I don't think. They're not really going to be looking at that part of the picture. They're going to be looking at, say, maybe something on the road that I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, let's take the liner brush now, of course, and go into this green color here. And we're kind of going to just, you know, go underneath here and maybe cover up a couple of things. Make it look like it's right near the road. There. That's pretty, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now we got that. Okay, now that we have one barrier, I want to go ahead and go right along the road here. Do another one. Oops. It was a little bigger than I intended it, but it'll do. Okay. Just make like it's going completely across there. There. That's pretty decent. Yeah, that's pretty decent. And we can clean that off right there. Because now we get to go back into the turquoise paint that we used to paint that. Hold on, I got a hair on my knife. One of the things about long hair is that you get hair everywhere. Oh boy, there it goes. All right. So now we just touch, and we just, you know, little posts there to indicate that it's situated in the ground. Okay, let's clean off the knife now. There. So now again, with the palette knife, since we're going to be constructing our road at this point, let's just go ahead and you want to kind of just pull this out, pull out this white paint, and cut your knife through it. Because right on the edge, we're going to be doing a little bit of drawing here. Okay? And we're going to try not to ruin everything that we've done here. But we are going to go across. Okay? Making that line that you see on the road. And we're going to go all the way across. And right around here, right around there, you're going to have a little bit of a hint of a line going up in there. Okay? That's good. And we're going to have the same kind of thing going all the way down this way. Now try to get it as straight as you can, which may be straighter than they actually get it on the roads. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Now up this part, there's going to be, well, there's going to be like intermittent lines, you know? Lines telling you where the divisions and the lanes are. You know, they're going to be going all the way up. Okay. And then finally, you're going to have lines on the side of the road to tell you where the road to where the division on the highway is. Okay. Now since this is closer to us, we're going to have a better sense of what this looks like. Well, these lanes, since they're closer to us, are going to appear closer. Okay, that'll do for that. Let's wipe off the knife now. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to create a couple of cars to indicate, you know, that there are in fact cars on the road. It'd be a little strange to have a road like this and no cars on it, you know? So, Let me think what kind of car I want to make. We can just kind of, what we can do, we can use the dark that we made here, and we can actually go ahead and lock that in right about, we'll say right here. This car is gonna be, ooh, it's gonna be a big old thing. It's not gonna be too big though, because it is kind of far away in the picture. So we're just gonna kind of box it in, see if we can get the shape right. It's gonna be one of these pickup numbers, See a lot of these in Michigan, all over the place. Not just the rural areas either. You see them all over. All over. Here. There. So then, let's see, right there. Okay. Right about there. Alright. Alright, let's take a little bit of white. Maybe go over in here. See what it looks like with a little bit of a highlight. It should be pretty gray, which, if it is exactly what we want. Maybe a little bit more than that. Now, we got to remember the colors that we used in this mix are pretty strong, and we got to use a lot of that gray to make this work. Hold on, I need a little bit more. God. Sometimes I forget that you got to get things pretty light in order for this to work. All right. Okay. Let's say right about there is where it's going to be. Okay. Okay, we've got that done. We need to add a couple more accents on there though. So let's take some of that red, some of that cadmium scarlet, and let's add a little bit something right there for his tail light on one side. Just a little something over there on the other side for his tail light. It's a cute little car, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit. And then we can take some of that color that we used for the highlight on the guardrails and throw that in his back windshield over here. There. You know what, we might even want to add a little bit more white to that. And then throw that in. Yep, that's how it goes. And then finally, ooh, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will throw just the smallest amount of white back there to indicate his bumper. There. And then, are there any other accents we could possibly add to this? I don't know, we could take some of the dark there and there. Get it like right on the edge. The edge of your palette knife is real good for drawing and stuff like that. Okay, because, oh, who knows? Maybe you got maybe you can just scratch in a couple of shadows and stuff. Who knows? There. There, that looks good enough. Let me clean off my palette knife now. We need a little friend for him, don't we? Yeah, he's riding that road all alone. Well, we can't have that. Can't have that. So let's... Ooh, boy, I'm going to need a smaller palette knife for this. This one's a little too big for the detail that we're going to have to do. Let's just take a little bit more of that dark color we were using. And we'll go to right about... right about here, and we'll put in that color. And boy, this is a small looking one. Oh boy, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be a very small car. It's gonna be a much smaller car. It's gonna be barely imperceptible compared to this one. Actually, let me go ahead right in the front here. Just make sure people know he's there. Yeah, he'll like that. There. Good enough on that one. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, I guess I could give him a little bit more of a bumper right here. Yeah, that's probably good. Well, I need to put my palette down so I can handle this paper towel properly. You know, sometimes you get your hands full and everything, you just gotta put the palette down. Or, you know, if your arm gets tired, you know, whatever on that too. Whatever. Okay, let's take some of the red here and go ahead and throw it on top of that right there. Yeah, that's probably going to be about fine. Maybe we need to add a couple of things here just to make sure people know that this is a car. Like maybe the windshield right there. Can't see his lights too well, so maybe we'll just add just a hint of some wheels, like right there. Right about there. Ooh, I don't know if I like that. That was too much. Okay. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just kind of scratch that out. That little mistake right there. Whoopsies. Alright, that's probably enough for the cars. We don't have to add too many more cars here. We do have to add some road signs though, so let's go ahead and do that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of that white that we were using and add it to this gray over here. Because I don't want it to be, you know, completely white posts and everything. I want it to be a little gray. Or a little bit of a violet gray, whatever. And, you know, the ultramarine and the alizarin crimson and the phthalo green, they get it done. Okay, so we got our post right. Well, let's put it right here. There. Right. Ooh. Right there. And then we'll put another post right here. Yeah, that's about good. These are just speed limit signs. You know, what are these guys doing? Maybe they're having themselves a little race down the road here. Maybe they think they're hot stuff. Maybe they think they got control of the entire world. In reality, they got control of nothing because there's a cop hiding in the bushes down the way, just waiting in a speed trap for them to pass by. Yeah, well, I guess It happens. It happens. All right, let's throw a sign right there, and a sign. Sign right there. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, that's not looking bad at all. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw another little sign right about here. Ooh. Oops. And then clean that off. Then I'll throw another little thing right here. And then, hold on, let me clean that off now. I mean, we got a lot of cleaning to do, don't we? Oh, I know. So much cleaning. Oh, but you have to do it because it's much easier to paint when you clean than if you don't clean. Okay, we don't have to do much here. We can just tap that right in there. There. Oh, that's thick paint right there, but that'll do. We just need to give the suggestion that we have a kind of a do not enter type deal right there. Because what this is kind of allowing them to go back onto the highway. Okay. So we got to do one more thing here, don't we? Yeah, a little bit. We got to go in here and create the driveway. And again, I'm putting my finger on wet paint, so that's a smart move right there, guy. What we can do first, though, is put the grass in here. We could put the grass in there, I think. Well, what do I want to do first? What do I want to do first? I think I want to go ahead with my palette knife. And, well, tell you what I'll do. I'll take some of this post paint, and I'll add just a touch of the cadmium, and then the cadmium yellow, well, the cadmium red and the cadmium yellow. It should be more of a violet-ish color. And I probably already had it there, but I don't know, I just wanted to fool around with it some. Kind of get that thick color that I like so much. I feel like the cadmium red, or the cadmium scarlet, and the ultramarine blue here is going to get me a lot further toward what I want than anything else. Okay. Ooh, that's too much. That's too much. I keep telling you guys, you gotta be careful with the cadmium scarlet. It's no joke. It is no joke, this color. Okay. There. Ooh, wow. Well, I had a big mess of cadmium yellow on my knife there that kind of just appeared as soon as I mashed my knife down. Boy, don't you love when that happens? Okay. How does that look? Still got a lot of green paint in there. Oh boy. Kind of shocked how much greener that got just then. Here we go. That should be about right. Okay, let's throw that down in there. I'll tell you what we can do. We can take our brush and we can brush that paint in. Because we got a mess of it on there, don't we? Yeah. be afraid to cover up some of what we did here, because we gotta get a lot of it in there. Yeah. We're creating a big driveway here, and it's gonna go to right about there. Yeah. Yeah, right about here. And then that's good. That's good. Cool. Alright, so we can go ahead and blend a little bit of that out. There. So now, what we can do is we can think about how we want to get this road a little bit lighter. And the obvious way is just to add some white. The obvious way. Okay. So we can go in here and now, since this is a road now, you kind of want to go in and mash it around a little bit. But then you don't want to lose everything, because roads, you know, they look weird. They have kind of just a different way about them and all that. They're all broken up, they're all textured, they're all, it's that weird color. It's just so weird. But anyway, we got that going on. And then we got to create a little bit of separation here between the driveway and the road. So let's go ahead with some of the odorless turpentine in our liner brush. We'll set aside a palette knife for right now. It's been seeing a lot of work. But again, liner brush, and that will enable us to go in here and redefine a few things. Like maybe we need to, maybe this road needs to be a little narrower up here, you know? Maybe that's what's wrong. I was wondering what the problem with it was. I think that might be it. You can go in here and, I don't know, maybe draw a line down in here. Create some more separation between the ground, that little grassy area, and the rest of the painting here. Okay. That's good, that's good. Or, you know, maybe you want to go in too and, here, let me get this paint a little slicker. There. Maybe you want to go in and there. That's good, that's good. Okay. Nice. Nice. A lot of this area here is going to be covered by a tree, but I think that we have this road pretty well fixed up right now. What I'm going to do is just add a little detail though down here, like right about here. Because, you know, maybe you got pothole and stuff. A little bit of an area where people do some damage to the road. All that business. Maybe you got another one right there. Maybe you got something right there too. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. People, man. Doing all kinds of damage to that poor road. Alright. So now that we got that, we can go in here and add some bushes and stuff. Right? Yes. Some beat off that was with the liner brush being as small as it is. You don't get much of anything at all out of that one. We can also go ahead and clean off palette knife. Ooh, there was a lot of paint on that knife, I think. Whew. Yeah, there was a lot on there. We probably could have used that for something else, but you know what? Whatever. Whatever. It's all good. You don't have to worry too much about it. Let's see. Yeah, this brush is dirty. Gotta clean off the 1-inch. Alright. Let's beat it off. And we'll give it the wipe down. Good. That is fantastic. Okay. So now all the stars are aligning and we can finally use this brush. And we're going to dip it in. We're going to pull it right through that paint. Get a lot of paint on the brush. And then you want to go into the greens that we did, because you want some bright greens for this. There. There. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wipe it one way, wipe it the other. And I've got a little bit of an edge, not much of one, but enough that I think I can get away with just grazing the edge of this. There. There. Now we'll just go into the paint again and graze it. And we don't want to completely ruin everything that we've done here. We don't want to completely ruin everything. Preserve some of the stuff, you know? Maybe just give it some flourishes of color. Go into the phthalo green. Maybe you want to get a little bit of that in there too. Yeah. Maybe. Maybe you want some of that phthalo green. I don't know. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. It's all good. Okay, let's take more of that and then go over here where we're going to do some more of that. And you know, right up at the top there, don't ruin everything you had. There. There, there, there. Now, we're going to go in here with a little bit of white, I think. And cover up some of this stuff that we have in here. There. Take a lot more white out of there. Oof. That's looking good. That's looking good. Maybe maybe a little bit more of the, yeah, a little bit more of the phthalo green. That's really livening things up, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right, all right. Okay. Okay, right here, I'm going to scratch out some of the dark that I had, or not the dark, but the grass there. And let me set my palette down so I can get to this. And I'm going to wipe off the paint that I just scratched off. Whew. That was more paint than I thought it was. Yikes. Alright. And the reason that we scratch that off is so it's much easier to lay in a dark like this. Like that dark that we've been using. We laid it in just like this. Just like that. Okay. That's about good. And then we take some of that color that is the highlight for the road down there, or the driveway, cut across, and we just kind of lay it in. There. And then what you can do is you can take the brush that you were painting with and just, you know, cover it up a little bit. You can also take your liner brush, and maybe you want things to be a little bit darker in one of those areas right there. Okay? If that's the case, you can take a little bit of ultramarine in that cadmium color. You can go in here and, you know, create all kinds of neat things. You can just go in there with the blue and create kind of a shadowy kind of feel. There. There. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to paint a big old tree right over here in this area. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to take some of this color with the phthalo green and the ultramarine. I'm going to have more phthalo green and ultramarine to anything else. More phthalo green and ultramarine in this, and I'm going to throw just a little bit of alizarin crimson, not too much, because you know you want to temper that color a little bit. You don't want it to be too turquoise. No, not too turquoise, right? Right. There. That's good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I'll do. Well, I don't want to get rid of all that paint, but I guess I have to. Oh well, it's all good. So what we're going to do is just kind of, we're going to scratch a bunch of paint out right in here. Oh no, oh, look at that. That is too bad. Oh no, I've ruined my painting. I've ruined my painting. I know what you're saying right now. Good God, Soulkeeper, stop, you maniac. You madman. This is an affront. This is an affront to painting. It was going so well. What happened? No, you don't have to worry about it. I got this, I think. I think. Yeah, I know. I know, that is inspiring, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2-inch brush. Find your 2-inch brush. I got my 2-inch brush. And then I'm going to take this paint that I mixed up, and then, before anything else, let's go into, say, a little bit of a brown color here. And I'll get a lot more ultramarine and alizarin crimson to the cad yellow. Or so I think. There. That's better. That's much better. What we're looking for is kind of a dark brown color, kind of like a a burnt umber or something. And that's just about it right there. Yeah, that'll do for what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this palette down for right now. And then we're gonna just, I'm gonna just paint this tree trunk like this. And then maybe there's another little thing going on over there. Maybe, I don't know, there's whatever going on. Most of this is going to be covered up by what we're doing anyway with the foliage, so we don't have to worry too much. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and, whoops, just, here, let me take this out of the way. I got another palette knife in there that's kind of just hanging out, which I don't want to do that right now because it's making too much noise. There. That's better. Okay. That's better. See, honestly, that tree trunk that we inserted at the beginning wasn't even all that important. And look how much we covered up with just that one color. And we can decide how far we want this to go, you know? Maybe we'll have to go all the way out here. Okay? Well, that's pretty wild, right? Oh boy, that's a big tree, huh? Kind of just overseeing everything, lord of its dominion, stuff like that. Okay. Oh, that's looking mighty nice. Ooh, that's getting to be a strong tree there. You know, compose your picture. Think about all the elements, how they play together. Maybe you got a lighter thing going on there, and that's cool. I think that this tree is looking pretty good the way it is. So let's go ahead and clear off the brush. Okay. Let's beat it off. And give it the old wipe down. There it goes. Perfect. Alright, that brush is in place. And it's good if we want to use it again. I'm not sure we will be using it again this session though. Now, what we have to decide, and I want my 1-inch brush for this because it makes for a better foliage brush. Alright. So at the top of your painting is where the really light stuff is going to be. I'm going to get a little bit of white on this one because I want it to be, very, very light at the top. And I've got a lot of paint on the brush. Look how much paint I've got on my bristles right there. I'm really pulling it through the paint. Really pulling it through. Okay? So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm not going to destroy everything, but I am going to be judicious about where I'm placing my color. Okay. Try not to destroy your darks here. Try not to destroy your darks. There. Let's see. There. Maybe I'll throw one down in there, one down in there, and that. Yeah, that's probably about good for that. There. I'll throw one more in here. And another one down there. Ooh. There. That's the way. Right up in here. There. And right up in here. And right there. Okay. And then one more right there. There. Okay. Let's think. Do I want more right here? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. We'll just throw maybe one more down here. Okay. I think that's about right. That's about good. Okay. Let's see. What more can I do with this piece? Well, I'll tell you what we can do. We can take the liner brush, like we are wont to do, and we can just, maybe cause some separation over in here, because you don't know. Maybe you want a little bit more separation between the grassy bits and the driveway over here. Maybe. Maybe you want to go over here and just kind of give a little bit of encouragement over here on the side of the road. Maybe that's what you want, right? I don't know. You can decide that for yourself. But I want a little bit more separation here. Okay? And I think that's pretty good. Okay, let's do a little bit more over this way. I want a little bit more separation over in here. Yeah. That doesn't look too bad. No. That's pretty good. See, the liner brush can do all kinds of stuff like that. You can cover up some mistakes pretty quickly. If you need to. And you know what? Sometimes we all need to, because life just has a way of happening. Okay. There we go. Now I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to insert one more thing, and I think we'll call this done. Okay. Yeah, a little baby beat off for the liner brush. I don't know that a wiping motion is necessarily the best motion for a brush like this. You kind of just have to be gentle with it. It is a very good brush, and ooh, we got to clean off a couple more brushes too, don't we? Yeah, a little bit. Got to clean off the fan brush. Oh boy, we still got some paint on that brush. I thought I got it all. I'm not sure I did. Come on, is that brush clean? That brush doesn't want to get clean. Come on. Yeah, I think I got it that time. All right. Some brushes are stubborn. They like bathing in the paint. They just don't want it to get off of them. They're like dogs rolling around the dirt. They just can't help themselves. They want to get all filthy. Or a pig rolling in mud. There. Clean off the 1-inch brush from all that yellow paint we've been using. We've been using a lot of the yellow paint today. If you see me working with it, you notice I use a lot of it. Well, it's because it's the only yellow that I have, for one. But also, God, it makes everything look so nice. So nice. Beat off the 1-inch. And give it the old wipe down. There it goes. Okay. Everything looks pretty sweet there. Now I'm going to get out my big palette knife for this last part. Because we got to do a little bit of something with the alizarin crimson and the cadmium scarlet. Okay. But I'm also going to add a little bit of the phthalo green to that. Dull it down some. Now it's gotten pretty dull because of that, so I want to add a little bit more red to it. I'm just going to use the cadmium scarlet for that. I probably could have just added the cadmium scarlet to the phthalo green and it would have been easier, but you know, sometimes you do stuff and it doesn't work out, so whatever. Alright, so now what we want to do, since I got a bunch of paint on that knife, I'm going to take my other palette knife. I'm just going to give this area here a little bit of encouragement. Now let's see, where do I want this? I need a railing here because this is kind of going up to like a railing. Alright, I want it to be right about here, so yeah, right about there. Okay. And then I've got this other railing. It's about almost in the same place. It's going right to about there. Alright. Cool. Okay, so now I've got another set of rails. I want to be right about here. Okay. While we're doing this, we can go ahead and just wipe it on the edge of our roll of paper towels. Alright, so now we're going to do that on the other side right here. Let's say that it's going to be right about here. Right about here. Where everything is going to come together. So right about there. Yep, right there. Okay. Right about here. And right about there. Okay. And since I messed that one part up right here, we can just brush it out. That's how we do it, guys. Don't even worry about it anymore. Okay, we'll set the palette knife aside for right now and get a roll of paint. Come up in there. And all those areas where we just scratched out. Okay. And we are just gonna just going to barely graze the canvas with that paint. And you're going to notice that after you scratch the paint out of that area, it gets much, much easier to put it on there than it would be if you just left the paint there. Now I've tried to put paint over a wet layer of paint like this, and it's easier every time, without fail, to scratch out the paint before you begin. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting the paint that's there. And you don't want to fight it. You want this to feel pretty natural and easy. You got to scratch it out before you put it in there. And it's easier to paint in layers like this than it is to try to do it all at once. And then you do it all haphazardly. Sometimes I get a little haphazard myself. Oops, one of my brushes fell. I'll just set that right there. And then I'll take the 1-inch brush with some of that yellow, some of that green. Ooh, that was a little too much green. I can't believe all the effort that I'm putting into doing just this little touch up here. We can just pull this green out, or this green out. Well, it might as well be green for all the times we've been painting with it. Get a lot of paint on there and just there. Okay. And you know what? You know what? I think we might have a finished painting on our hands, guys. Yeah, this is looking pretty decent. Pretty decent. Okay, well, let's clean off this brush. And then I've got one last thing I want to do before I leave today. Okay, beat it off, and then wipe it down. Very good, very good. All right, so last thing I want to do today before I leave you is I want to put my signature on this, because at the end of every painting, you want to be sure to put your signature on it. And I like to put my initials on here, S. K. And there it is. And boom. Let's clean that off, because you don't want the paint to dry on the brush. If the paint dries on the brush, you're going to be in trouble, because it's going to be hard to fix that. In fact, you might not be able to. So be sure that all your brushes are clean. Be sure there's no more paint on them. I'm touching my brushes right now to make sure that I got all the paint off of them, and I'm not seeing any paint on my hands, so I think I'm about good, except for my palette knife, which, ooh, it's still got paint on it. That's why we check. Make sure you got all the paint off all your tools, as much as you can get. Now, sometimes you're going to have a little bit of paint left over, no matter what you do. It's okay to have a little bit, but you want to try. Let me put down my palette for this. I kind of look ridiculous when I'm trying to hold the palette and clean things off at the same time. There. That's good, that's good. Okay. And then let's make sure that the other palette knife is all good too. Ooh, it's got a little bit of paint on the edge too. Yeah, you gotta check the edges for these palette knives, because these palette knives, they get real sneaky about the way that they still have paint on them. Real sneaky. So make sure you check them. I think that's just dry paint right there. Wait, nope, 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 nope. God, there's a lot of paint on the edge of that. It feels like, I don't know. I think it's fine. Got any paint on that? Nope. All right, I think we're all cleaned up here. So be sure to close up the odorless turpentine. And with that, my friend, I think that we have ourselves a finished painting. I really hope you like this one. This one was a very challenging painting despite its appearances. It's got a pretty simple composition, but it has a lot of unique elements that we haven't really done that much before. We've done some railing before, and we've done a lot of foliage before. We've done skies, but also had this road. And roads aren't really something I've done a lot of. So this was a very interesting challenge for me, and I really enjoyed doing it. And all things considered, I think this painting turned out reasonably well. There's a few things I would change about it, but overall, not complaining too much. I hope you had a lot of fun with it. If you give it a try for yourself, see if you can do it even a little better than I could. Anyway, my friend, I think that's about it for today. I've got to go. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be back soon with something very new, very different. I think I'm going to challenge myself again, try something we haven't seen before, and we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it'll go well. You never know. Sometimes it might go poorly. Anyway, until then, with love from me to you, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.